you said something about us being a part of life. And I reckon that we are all a part of life. In fact, life itself. However, in some circles, we hear talk of writing one's name in the book of life before it's too late. So, are we as new students to write our names in the new universities before it's too late, or what, then?
It's all funny stuff here, isn't it, Charles? So we have what we have here in this world is distortion. Okay, it's all distortion. Everything you've learned, there's no truth. There's no anything credible here. It's all distortion. That's it. That's the bottom line. Don't matter what it is. And so the reality is that what is being presented is that we are already free beings of real light, and you decide how you're going to recognize that. So it's not about getting somewhere. See, the old way we were taught, just like in the corporation. Again, I came up through the corporation, many other people too. And so as an example, because Paul started that, and it was initiations, it was different steps, levels, etc. You see, it was the idea that you are to get somewhere. So the idea that you have there, putting your name in the book of life, that sounds cute, but that's something you decide upon your own. But like the sun shining, again, is a concern. The thing is, we are free beings of real light. And while we're here, we have this personal self to figure out, and accordingly using it as a comparison to figure out, what's not real, so we can discover what is real. So, again, it's like Rebazar would say, look at the end result. That's what I do. Look at the end result. You're already a free being of light. So how do you recognize that reality that you already is? It's an isness. You're not going anywhere. So it's kind of backing up from what we've known. That this forward motion thing, this levels, this up and down, this right and wrong. See, this is what we've been taught. Now we got to figure out how it isn't what we thought it is, and recognize that, and what else is there. So through that process, it's possible to recognize what is, and in comparison, I'm sorry, this is how it is. And this is how creation is very complex, but what we've gone through, none of it is it. So we are already the whole of life, you might say. We are in a position, in other words, we are with all of life. So we're already at that point, so it's simply recognizing, seeing, being what that is. So it's not a matter of going anywhere. This is where everything is in reverse. Actually, you kind of fall back is actually what you do. But how do you do that, and how do you compare and recognize it? It is that recognition. So, it's very interesting, Charles, how we go through this process. But what is being presented here on the surface looks kind of like everything else. So we bring in those ideas and those routines that we've come to know, thinking it's so. Well, yes, but as we're discussing here and as I'm writing, what I do, I provide a lot of definitions for people, but they got to figure it out. That's just it. It's more than the Rubik's Cube. You got to figure it out, and it becomes more so. Because life's big, and it's about awareness, not what you know. See? So you know what you know, right? Okay, so now that you've accumulated everything that you know, what is it that you really know? See? And what does it relate to? So there you go. There's an idea right there. So you look at that. So all that you've been through, everybody, all that you've been through, what does that mean? When the sun is shining and life is an isness to be recognized, so what does all of that mean? There's your comparison, but you've got to see it. But in the meantime, see, your personal self is usually fast forward. thinking that, oh, I got to read this or I got to do more new use or whatever. Yeah, that's all part of it. But unless you stop to recognize what is, then you might say, moving past it, because there is no past or future or or any of these things, even present. The present idea, past, present, and future. The present idea is just that. It's something in the present here, but what is it? But it's not really the isness that is to be recognized. So for the longest time, the personal self is going to try to use an idea to relate to the references that I'm providing. I get it, but it's not going to work. That'll give you some views, but that's not it. So again, life is what you can't consider, and that's the best part, because that's where your real freedom is, when you've recognized what it is besides the considerations that you've known. So again, everything that you've known, what does that really equal? Look at that. Start from there, and then compare it to what else is possible. Actually, what else is more than possible. But we go in steps to little by little see it. So this reality cannot be explained. It can only be seen. Go ahead, Charles.
Oui, les amis non africains du Congo, vous êtes là? Vous êtes là? Alors? Il faut démuter. Il ne faut pas mettre le caméra. Hein? Allô?
Oui, allô?
Il faut éteindre le caméra, ça dérange.
On est là, on est là. Nous sommes là.
Chaque fois, quand il faut, avec le Skype, il faut cliquer sur le lien donné. Il ne faut pas m'appeler directement. Parce que au moment que vous m'appelez, je suis en train de parler ou bien Duane est en train de parler.
Ah, ok.
Bon, comme c'est un peu clair là, je vous demande de vos questions, vos points de vue. Et je transmets ça à Duane. Oui, allez-y.
Oui, Monsieur Charles, on voulait savoir comment savoir si nous avons les vraies guidances et la vraie éducation et la vraie connexion. Donc, comment savoir qu'on est dans la vraie guidance, dans la vraie connexion et la vraie, par rapport à quand nous chantons, on peut connaître que maintenant là, nous sommes dans la connexion. C'est un peu ça la question qu'on avait.
Le plus.
Allô, Charles?
Quand vous parlez, il ne faut pas bouger. Il ne faut pas bouger. Il y a le bruit là derrière. Il faut.
Oui, je disais ceci. Nous avons voulu savoir comment savoir si nous avons la vraie guidance et la vraie éducation et la vraie connexion.
Ah, c'est ça la question?
Oui, c'est ça la question.
Okay, Duane, their concern is with real education, real guidance, and the real connection to uh, the sound light reality. He asks, how can they be sure? How can they know that uh, they are actually having real guidance, real education, and that they have the real connection? Is there a modus operandi for understanding this? That's what they want to know.
Well, again, let's look at what we've come through, and let's look at the organizations and the structure of the world, how everything is marketed to people, and as you walk into a church or something like that, they have brochures and what have you. They hand out. They're building confidence in people to believe in what they're doing. It's what they're doing. And so again, this is what we look for. We're used to this. We're used to going from here to there and getting the information, building our confidence with something, etc. I get it. Well, this is why this is a risk taker position, because again, we start off, there's so much out there. You start off with something, but when it comes to the reality of this real connection with the new you, that's the risk taker position that you have to figure out. So again, the person is bringing in what they've come to know, and they've been through that for the longest time. Look what you've been through. Look what these people have been through, these Africans, many of them religion or whatever. So because they know that very well, because they know their system or society very well, so again, taking the next step into the unknown to see more. How can you see more and become more aware if you don't go into a position that you don't know? You see, if you just stay with what you know, so what is really being said is that I want to know what I already know. And is that going to help you become more aware? So no, you have to take the risk. You have to figure it out. Just like when you start college or something, you don't know the course. You don't know what you're going to go through. You don't know what you're going to see and experience and realize. And the end result, you have a basic idea. And so the same is with this. No, when you look at the systems of the world, they provide you an assurance or guarantee. Like Paul said, okay, you have the guidance, you have the protection, you basically get out of the reincarnation cycle this lifetime or the next. Well, there can realistically be no guarantee given. See, does the sun give a guarantee that it's going to shine the next day? You ever seen a brochure on the sun handed out and that it guarantees that? No, there's no guarantee. You take the risk. That's what it is. So this is for real risk takers. That's it. And that is that those that don't feel confident with taking the risk, then it's best they stay with what they know, you see, and that's all they will ever know. So you have to learn to step into, you might say, you have to learn to explore what you don't know. And so we're giving the ideas, the only way you're going to become more aware and see what life is to step into the unknown. Constantly learn how to step into the unknown and recognize it more so than what you've known, you see? And then you compare the two little by little. But if you don't, if you're always looking for a position of something that you know, then that's it. You're just going around in circles, aren't you? And this is why most people just live their personal life, because this is something that they've known all their lifetimes. And for myself, I look at what I've decided for myself. Yeah, I tear myself away sometimes from what I've known to get into the next position. I had the happy home. I had all this. Everything was paid for and whatever. But I left to do this because, no, I didn't want to stay stuck with that. And so when most people have built up their comfortable life, they feel like, oh, I've accomplished something. Well, you have, but you're still nowhere. But you don't see it. Just because you're comfortable and you know what you're doing every day and you just go through your routines, so you know your routines, that's all you know. Well, our position is real. It's with the whole of life, and the whole of life is invisible. It's always invisible. And to make it a reality is how you learn to recognize this invisible reality. And correspond accordingly while you're here to make better choices with your personal self. Boy, there is a whole lot to this that you might say cannot be proven. The only way that it's proven is when the individual steps up and goes through the process step by step, then all of a sudden, whoa, I start to see it. And so ask Kelsey or ask Val or ask Henry or Eric or Claudie or, here's Sandy Staling, etc. And as they've come through this process, and you yourself, Charles, you see the little subtleties, but guess what? You're seeing is just a pinch compared to what is. And so again, look at yourself. Is that personal self first? Is it? Do you have ambition? Do you have agenda? Are you going somewhere? See? You decide. Guess what? You're going nowhere until you are 100% step into this reality, this unknown reality. You're going nowhere. All you're going is on the dizzy scale again with all these lifetimes, no matter how long. See, again, no matter how far you go. See, again, the idea is that, we join this, life becomes better. All right. Guess what? There is no life here. This is a simulator. Okay. It's figuring it out. Yes, a real life becomes better because you recognize it. But this life here is not a real life. It is a simulator. So again, the challenge is to figure out, what's going on with where you're at. So the past and everything we've been through is a comparison, not a reality. But if you keep making it a reality, then you stay with what you've known, like I've said. And until you learn to stand into the unknown every moment, then you're not going to see it. You have to learn to do that. You have to learn to stand into the unknown and see it. So that's a whole lot. Okay, go ahead, Charles. So there's the real guidance, the real education, a step at a time. But it's huge. It's going to take you 100 years or more. It's going to take you lifetimes. So you got to start somewhere or you don't. You decide. So it's not an overnight thing. And if people cling to belief, then they're just holding on to an idea like a little balloon. That's all it is. And someday it'll pop and it won't mean anything because it doesn't mean anything. But people have to have what they have to have. So we're just the new opportunity. But you gotta take the risk and just jump in and see how it works, or you don't. Go ahead.
Okay, let me transmit what you said to them. Oui, les amis? Ok, Duane vient de donner une réponse là qui va peut-être vous choquer. Il dit que la position que nous prenons dans la présentation, nous, c'est une position de preneur de risque. Et quand on demande comment on peut savoir que la vraie guidance, la vraie éducation et la connexion est là, c'est comme tu demandes à savoir ce que tu sais déjà. Parce que en tant que la lumière pure que nous sommes, nous connaissons tout. Mais la vie personnelle qui utilise le mental et tout ça ne sait pas. Donc, il dit que pour cette question, il n'y a pas une réponse définitive. ça peut prendre même 100 ans, des dizaines, centaines des années. Mais il faut commencer quelque part. Et ce n'est pas quelque chose qu'on voit avec les yeux physiques. Et l'impression que beaucoup de gens ont pour mesurer ça, c'est que, bon, quand ils commencent à faire des choses comme le nous, le chant nous, et lire les discours et les livres, que leur vie vont changer. La vie va s'améliorer et tout ça. C'est pas ça. Ça ne peut pas. Bon, si on veut utiliser ces paramètres pour juger si la vraie guidance, éducation et la connexion est là, c'est faux. Donc, il faut savoir que on traite avec l'invisible et c'est vaste. Ça n'a pas un commencement ni un point là où ça finit. Donc, mais il faut commencer quelque part. Et doucement, tu vas arriver à un stade où tu reconnais que, bon, cette vraie guidance, la connexion est là. Mais pour le moment, quand tu commences ça, tu es encore inconscient. Tu ne sais pas si ça marche ou ça ne marche pas, mais tu traites avec l'invisible et il faut multiplier tes efforts. Il ne faut pas penser que c'est quelque chose qu'on peut mesurer et tout ça. Donc, si on veut vraiment avoir un test de ce que tu as demandé là, c'est utiliser les paramètres physiques, mentaux, sociaux et tout ça. Ça ne s'applique pas ici. Donc, je ne sais pas si j'ai condensé un peu bien.
Oui, Charles, c'est vraiment bien expliqué.
OK.